Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, we're on, and welcome to the Canuck and Yankee pre-show for the show coming up this Sunday, October the 24th, 2021. And we got a bit of a promo clip going here for you just to let you know some of the stories that we're going to be covering this week. We are going to be covering the final segment of our housing series. We started with a basic overview last week. We covered the crisis season today, or day after tomorrow. We're going to be covering the meat and potatoes of things, and that has to do with what the government is doing, which isn't very much. And it'll go through the usual thing, but some alternative things that are housing in California to do with the homeless and housing density in New Zealand, how they're allowing way more houses. Also, going to be covering a bit about different kinds of shelter, particularly in rural areas where people use all kinds of different shelters in order to survive. And we're also going to be covering what is driving the housing costs, and that would be things like people wanting larger houses and mass development. And if you think about it, we used to live in far more primitive things, and now people want these large houses, don't we all? I admit it. I kind of like having a house with walls that you can heat up. And then we're going to be talking about some alternative things like building into the earth and also movable structures. And this includes a lot of people that dwell in RVs. You find that in the cities, and you also find that in the country, and things like taking a container and living in it. Now, it is technically mobile, so you don't need a building permit. And then tiny homes, we're going to cover that a little bit. And then we go to the government programs, and I haven't been able to find much. It seems like real estate is pretty much a private enterprise thing. And so that's my synopsis of the housing thing. You got anything to add to the housing thing there, Mr.
Well, there's
Yankee?
also Biden administration's initiative in multi-family zoning, which
Right.
would be at the federal level. So I'm looking at that,
Right.
and
Yep. Impact.
is that even constitutional? It's
Exactly.
a messy subject because each state is sovereign to a certain degree, especially
Yeah, I would imagine it's a lot of it's
concerning
local.
zoning laws and with municipalities and real estate. But Biden, this multifamily low-cost housing initiative Biden is doing is actually an extension, a furthering of what Obama tried to do in his 8
Right.
years
Right.
at the presidential level, the executive level. So it's just
That'll be
a
interesting.
continuation of that. They're trying this again under Biden, and yeah, so I'm going to have some information on
Okay.
that.
Sounds
And
good.
then, yeah, we are really going to get into future events. We're going to get into the metaverse, virtual reality. It's all
Right.
coming.
Right.
And Facebook is hiring
Active.
10,000
10,000.
European developers to build
Right.
virtual reality out. And
Right.
Facebook has already spent in the billion-dollar range on the company Oculus, which
Oh, really?
has VR goggles,
Oh,
the
I've heard of
VR
them, yeah.
environment. So they've already made a lot of moves in the space, and Zuckerberg is definitely putting enormous amount of investment into creating a new metaverse virtual reality for
Wow.
all of humanity, and it's
Very strange. Very
it's strange and disturbing, yes, at the same time. So we're gonna be going over that.
And China's doing something as well. They're building a virtual city, you were saying?
Yeah, they are building a virtual city, so we're gonna have information on that, and so it's. China, the CCP, they were opening up their markets to tourism and things along those lines, and this city was built. Initiatives were built back at least 5, maybe 10 years ago,
Right.
where they were more open 15 years ago, but the city's being built so that people will come and visit it, but at the same time, China is also closing its doors now too to tourism So
Right.
that'll be strange.
They're getting
How
more
that unfolds.
closed. They're getting more closed, I guess, as far as interacting with
But
the
they're
rest of the world.
basically building this virtual reality city to show the world, they're cutting edge and
Well,
what have you.
sounds to me.
Medical advancements. I mean, it's basically it's one of the biggest human experiments
Oh no,
to date.
it's very strange.
Technological experiments to date. So it's an interesting story that not a lot of coverage out there on it.
No, not really. No, and it's to me, and we were discussing it earlier. It's basically the Matrix is starting to manifest itself in the real world. And speaking of things that are manifesting itself in the real world, we're going to be going back to a familiar theme, both on this show, but even more on Variant News and some of the shows that you do, and that's the whole crypto situation in to do with legislation and policies. I'm going to be covering the Canadian and, from my research, the government at this point is doing what they do often and saying, well, we're thinking about it, we're looking at it, we're not planning on doing anything, but in reality they probably
in reference
are.
to a central bank digital currency. Canada's
Exactly.
basically.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, as far as central banking, and then I'm going to go over what the current regulations are. And I was expressing to the Yankee earlier was that with Canada and things to do as heavy duty as currency and big economic things like that, they usually take their cues from Big Brother America down south. I can't see them acting independently on that. And so, Tim, you've got some information on the American situation with crypto regulations and stuff like that. Is that what you got this week, or?
Yeah, so Yellen is the Secretary of Treasury in the United States, and she's already mentioned the U.S. federal government will be coming out with some kind of central bank digital currency, so we're going to have a discussion around that.
Right.
What would that look like? And also, she has made comments that concerning tracking transactions, and she provided clarification that what they really want is be able to track transactions to $600 that total more than $600 in a year. But the reality is that they don't have the infrastructure in place to do that. And eventually, with central bank digital currency and the network upgrades and automation, AI, machine learning, all that, you can get to a point at the government level that you could track that efficiently, but that's a ways off. So what I've heard recently from Congress is that they're just going to go back, for now, they're just going to go back to the $10,000 transactions. Any transactions over $10,000 are going to be monitored, both for crypto and traditional markets. So they're going to put things in place for that, because the infrastructure isn't there for it. But eventually, maybe 5-10 years down the road, they'll have it all in place. So it's really
flexible.
It's really
it's in flux.
It's really, they're discussing it now, and it's obvious that's where things are headed down the road.
Yeah, and I've got on the same kind of subject note an article about the CRA, Canada Revenue Agency, sharing information with the Internal Revenue Service in the United States of America, and there's supposed to be a $50,000 threshold before it's reported as far as activity, but they've been going far under that in certain cases, so they got called out. Someone got a Freedom of Information request after waiting a long time and expose that. So we're going to be covering a bit of that, and the general thing of one of the concerns of an article that I read about the crypto situation was being able to monitor or further monitor a national federal crypto, so to speak, being able to monitor people's activity. And it seems like that is what is behind the China's effort into crypto. A lot of it is just being able to monitor more closely people's economic activity. And then I guess we're going to have some nature stuff. We'll probably have some more stuff with that crazy friggin' volcano.
Going back to crypto, we're
Oh, yeah,
gonna
sorry.
one of the biggest developments
Oh, that's
in
right.
crypto market
Sorry.
history is that they have announced a Bitcoin exchange traded fund with Bitcoin, a Bitcoin futures exchange traded fund. It's not going to be like a pure Bitcoin ETF, but
Right.
it will be something. And so now, all the traditional markets will have an easier access to getting into Bitcoin, into crypto, and I think it'll lead the way for other platforms like Ethereum, Solana, that I discuss a lot,
Yeah, good.
and the other ones. So it's a big announcement for crypto. I mean, it's starting to solidify, right? It's starting to become part of the traditional markets.
That's the theme. That's the theme right there.
It's a big shift that's slowly happening.
It is,
and it'll
it's
accelerate.
a big shift, huge. Okay, and then what do you think? We're gonna have some nature things.
Yeah, I gotta see. I mean, we've been covering La Palma. I've been following it a lot. I've been following a guy, Bushcraft Bear, on YouTube that lives in La Palma. The earthquakes have been intensifying, so maybe we'll have something on that, and maybe one other event. But the earthquakes are getting up there to the 5 scale.
Waiting
on
for
the Richter.
something mega to happen. So something's going to happen. We'll find something, and then we have our usual Pizarro, and we got a few things for this week. We never really know exactly, and so that's pretty much going to be the show. Which at this Sunday, the 24th of October, 2021, at 4 p.m. Eastern, and we are going to be live. And I believe we're going to try to be live on YouTube again. They seem to be putting up with us. Is that the truth, Mr. Yankee? You're the tech on this show, so.
Well, I mean, yeah, I've got to. We're getting these little snippet copyright claims on the snooze tube, and they have a process where you can clip those out. So I'm testing a mute option right now, and we'll see if we can appease the snooze tube. The YouTube gods, the YouTube technological gods that they are, and we'll see if we can continue streaming on YouTube.
We're going to do it.
We never know.
You never know.
You never know what's going to happen.
No, and that's the whole fun thing. So I guess we'll see you Sunday. I want to thank you all for watching this promo clip. And we're on at 4 p.m. Eastern 1 p.m. Pacific time on YouTube, DLive, and a whole bunch of other things. You can contact us at variant-news.com/contact, or go there and hit the contact thing.
Just variant-news.com will get you there.
It'll get us to us, and you can tell us what you think, what you want to see, and what you're having for dinner, or whatever you want to say. All right. Thanks a lot, Mr. Yankee.
All right. And enjoy the rest of your day or morning or something like that.
Every day.
All right.
Enjoy.
Later.